in September of 2013, I got a call from my family saying that my dad was really sick. And this journey is about my trip to go see my dad.
Down about 1 hour and 5 minutes at a cruise altitude of 31,000 feet this afternoon. Weather down there a little bit nicer, 81 degrees, broken clouds and light winds. We've just got maintenance finishing up some last minute paperwork on our logbook. We had a seat repaired while we were here. So be just another minute or two, we'll be underway. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Welcome aboard.
So when I got that call, I rushed in a panic to get my tickets, and I found myself going from Cleveland to Charlotte, then from Charlotte to LaGuardia, LaGuardia to JFK, JFK to New Delhi, and New Delhi to Kolkata. So I don't know if I did the right thing, maybe I could have done better, but I was in a state of panic and I just wanted to get going. So I found myself hopping through all these airports to get to see my dad. And time was of the essence for this trip.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting our final descent of the Charles Douglas Airport. Should have you on the ground the next 15 minutes or so. Parking gate E18 tonight. Looks like we'll be within just a couple minutes of schedule, maybe a few minutes late because of that earlier delay up there in Akron. Currently light winds, scattered clouds, temperature is 79 degrees. We appreciate you choosing US Airways Express. We hope you join us again soon. Have a safe and happy weekend.
Express, welcome to Charlotte, where the local time is 7:07 p.m. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened, keeping the all clear until we are parked at the gate. The captain will then turn off the fasten seatbelt sign indicating that it is safe to stand.
Charlotte Airport is very unique in itself because the whole airport is like on the ground floor with all these windows. So you can look out to see all the activities that's going on outside. And if you're killing some time, etc., I think it's a nice engaging, it's a nice way to spend time. Charlotte is a very busy domestic airport and an international airport. And it was very cool to see Airbus 340s to small little puddle jumpers. As always, before a long flight, I try and avoid greasy food. So drink a lot of water and try and eat like sushi or something that's not very greasy. So my connecting flight was from Charlotte to LaGuardia on an Airbus A321. Bigger plane meant more legroom and you could sprawl out a little bit. So it's interesting, the Airbus 300BC over here was the first plane I ever stepped on as a kid, and right next to it was a Boeing 727. That was my first international flight. It was Royal Nepal Airlines going to Kathmandu. nice that they turned the cabin lights off, so it gives you more privacy. And I turned on to my Wi-Fi. And those days, 6 years back, you had to pay for Wi-Fi. The sound level inside a plane is 90 decibels, which actually can be pretty loud, even though it doesn't sound that way. So if you're flying into LaGuardia, sit on the right side of the plane to get a good view of the city.
We'll be flying northbound up the Hudson River with a couple of right-hand turns into the traffic pattern and landing to the southwest of LaGuardia this evening. Our weather in New York City is reporting mostly cloudy skies and the present temperature is 70 degrees. Be on the ground in about another 20 minutes. We'd like to thank you all once again for choosing to fly U.S. Airways this evening. We hope you've enjoyed flying with us, and we hope we can be of service to you again in the near future. Have a nice evening here in the New York City area. Thank you.
So I was going to spend the night in LaGuardia with my friend Bouncy, go to JFK the following morning, and LaGuardia is not far from Manhattan. It's about a 40-minute drive, so that really was convenient. So the next morning I went to JFK, and the best way to go to JFK is, if you want to avoid traffic, is to take the train, and the train takes about an hour, but there's no traffic, so it's awesome. Traveling in September is not so busy, so it's easy to walk around. After I checked in, there are a couple of spots outside of the terminal where you can see some cool plane spotting opportunities. Then my sister called me to tell me that my dad passed away and that I have to be in Kolkata within the next 18 hours if I wanted to see him. Otherwise, he'd be cremated and I wouldn't see him. So that was very difficult at that time, even now, of course. So I still had about 4 or 5 hours before the flight, and it was quite difficult to deal with the situation on my own, especially if you're in a very crowded place. I just want to be left alone, I guess, which is an understatement. But I tried to find a secluded spot, and in JFK you have all these rooms, like a small little church. They have a small little mosque, not a mosque but a prayer room, and they also have meditation rooms, so that was nice. Terminal 4 is always very busy, and my biggest fear was just something happening in between that I won't be able to make it on time for the cremation ceremony, and I really wanted to get off the ground.
We're fully ready from our side to start taxiing. As you can see from the right window, there's 16 to 20 airplanes ahead of us. I think we'll spend at least 45 minutes to 1 hour on the ground taxi. That's normal for JFK. And thank you for bearing with me. I just wanted to update you that there will be a slight delay due to ADC requirements. Thank you.
So this was my biggest nightmare, is to be delayed in any shape or form. You feel very helpless. And I cannot put in words how I felt at the time, but you feel pretty helpless because you know you have to be there, and everything is out of your control. So I just hope that we would make up some time, and also I wouldn't miss any of my connecting flights. So I snagged myself these emergency exit seats, which gave me plenty of legroom, but it was very uncomfortable in terms of your arms in your elbow room because the handrest doesn't go up or down. So it wasn't very comfortable at all. The best thing about Air India is the food. It's awesome food, very like sumptuous and tasty, if you will. The portion is extremely big. So it was very, very, very nice service as far as the food and everything else went. Now, on the flip side, the TV and the entertainment system wasn't working, but I don't really think I was in the mood to watch anything at all. I had to try and keep my mind off what was to come ahead, and I just kept my camera rolling, and I don't know if watching TV or movies would have made any difference, to be honest with you. So I did meet the pilot, and the captain told me that the entire flight they just monitor the headwind and they calculate how much gas they're using in the wind, if you will, and that's what they do for the entire duration of the trip. So I was not prepared for this situation, and I wasn't carrying any sleeping pills or sleeping aid or NyQuil. So it was a very restless night. I couldn't get any sleep, and I knew I had to get some sleep because I was going to go straight from the airport straight to cremate my dad. And rest was very important for me, and there was no rest coming. One cool thing about this flight was that they kept the food outside for you to help yourself. There was chicken sandwiches, cookies, orange juice, pop, etc. So that was very nice. Another cool aspect about flying this particular flight is that the 777 has a seat configuration of 333, not 343, which is really good because it gives you lots of breathing room. Otherwise it gets too crowded. And not to mention, if it's 333, that means there's so many less people and so many less bags and baggages. So when you're done with the flight, the bags come out fairly quickly. We were fed the entire flight, and slowly as I was coming closer towards Delhi, the gravity of the situation was sinking in. And my only advice to everyone or anyone in my situation is that when you are dealing with some trauma, try and do everything that you did on a normal basis, like in your routine. Don't go off your routine. That really helped me in this circumstances. And in general, try and do things you would do every day, even though something really heavy is on your mind. That's one way of dealing with a situation like this. The other way you can deal with this is if you just take some sleeping pills and just knock yourself out. That's not a bad option either. So far, so good. I had one more connecting flight to take from Delhi to Kolkata, and I was so close that I didn't want anything to throw me off in terms of delays or snags. This plane that you're seeing right now crashed and was completely destroyed 3 months after this footage was shot. You will have to Google Air India VTESH. There were no fatalities, but the aircraft was destroyed. When you fly through New Delhi, there's always a possibility of delays caused by fog and smog. I was a little concerned, but this wasn't winter, this was September, so it was okay. But if you fly through New Delhi in winter, then that's a factor that you must take into consideration. Taking off from here was a huge relief for me in the sense that we were scheduled to arrive at 7 p.m. It's a 2-hour flight from New Delhi to Kolkata, and I knew I would be arriving around 7 p.m. and then make my way to the cremation ground by 8 p.m. and within that 1-hour window, and I knew if I could land, if everything went well, I would make it on time.
heavy adjustment available. Seatbelt fasten. धन्यवाद. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten seatbelts. Thank you.
All crew at stations, due weather. All crew at stations, due weather. Thank you.
So we ran into some really bad weather. I was cutting it so fine. I did not want to be diverted or delayed at all.
We have commenced the descent for landing. We should be landing for a change 5 minutes before schedule. We expect arrival 55 minutes past 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Subject to air traffic control, that is. For choosing to fly with us. And we look forward to flying again. I wish you all a pleasant evening and have a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Once again, I was very relieved that the weather did not cause any delay and we were on our way to landing in Calcutta a little before time. We traveled halfway around the world and we landed 5 minutes ahead of time, which is really amazing. What lay ahead that night was very traumatic, sad, and I cannot explain in words, but I did arrive on time. If you guys are ever in my shoes, just make sure that you are well prepared, you get plenty of sleep, drink plenty of water, be well rested. Don't be like me where I could not get a single minute of sleep the entire trip. It calls for a long next day and it calls for a long week ahead. Hope you guys at least lived through me, and I hope to make many more of these little episodes in future, and hopefully I'm going to see you guys very soon under very happy and different and fun circumstances. So be well, thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys soon.